This is an interview for Peep-magazine. We're joined with BuZZila.
That'll be the one, yeah.
One of the hardest working DJs in the Northeast. BuZZila. Is trance dead?
Definitely not, definitely not. You know, I've heard loads of people say this. When I was playing out in Ibiza, I had a lot of people saying, they like trance music, but they were saying it's dead, you know, and I'd have to disagree completely. It certainly became a more commercially accepted scene, let's say, but I mean, you've got tracks such as, for instance, Castles in the Sky by Ian Vandal or Sandstorm by Darude. Quite commercialised. A lot of consider them just ordinary dance music than trance, but the trance is definitely there. But all over the world, I mean, you've got Good Grief, you've got Tomorrowland, Ultra Music Festival, all have trance music played at them, trance music artists and trance music in general. It's one of those genres that it can't die. I have to say that.
Yeah. I was having to think before we started this interview, and then when we trying to plan it and all the rest of it, because it's been going on a while. We've been trying to meet for a while, haven't we?
Oh yeah, just obviously with everything going on, it's been busy schedules and all that.
Yeah, and I thought I was thinking to myself, do I actually like trance music? And then I had a kind of a brainwave, and I thought, Robert Miles.
Yeah, Robert Miles, Children.
Children. I thought it's one of my favourite tunes. And then I thought Paul Van Dyk.
Paul Van Dyk, another big one. For an Angel, great
and
track.
Then I thought one of my favourites was Chicane.
Chicane.
Saltwater.
Very, very well known track. One of his best known ones, to be honest.
So I thought, I mean, that kind of bombed that notion out the way, because I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan, but I respect the genre, and I kind of respect what they're doing. You know, there's an art to it.
I think with trance music, with all music genres, there will be people who say, they've never heard of it or they don't listen to it. But everyone will have heard at some point one track of trance through their lifetime. Robert Miles, of course, Children, that was a ridiculously big track. And I mean, he actually, unfortunately, passed away in Ibiza at the same time I was out there, not far from where I was staying. So it was nice. We would, Cafe Mambo, and as the sun set, they played Children as a designated, as a tribute to him. And I thought that really brought it together.
Yeah. I mean, that's a nice touch, isn't it?
It is very.
In your words, what is trance music for the people who don't know? What is trance music, and where did it come from? Where does it come from?
Well, I have to say, it can be traced back to a lot of different influences. It has influences from house, it has influences from techno, but it's really a definitive genre of music. You've got the long, big build-ups, the long breakdowns, and the end of the track, and then you've normally got just one big drop, like a climax sort of thing. But it's just one big build-up into this musical melody, really. I mean, trance is one of them genres of music where I personally don't think you need lyrics to it. A lot of the time they have lyrics, particularly big operatic sort of female vocals and stuff.
Yeah.
And pianos and keyboards are two big instruments amongst it, but it doesn't need lyrics. It's got that sort of feeling to it that you don't need any words for. You can just have a full instrumental track, like Adagio for strings. Originally, obviously, not a trance track. Originally, a classical track by Samuel Barber. Then Tiesto covered it, and it became one of the greatest dance tracks of all time, just because of how it sounded. I mean, it sounds brilliant, you know.
That kind of comes on to my next question. Like, who are your influences within, not so much trance, but maybe from the progression to trance?
From DJing in general and producing, first, I started writing music from the age of 17. Started producing music and composing my own music from about the age of 19, 20. And at first, out of everything, it was dubstep.
Oh, wow.
Not a lot of people know that. It was dubstep that I first started out with, like the likes of Scream, the likes of Skrillex and all that. And eventually I sort of folded back into doing a bit more just normal dancey stuff, a bit of house, bit of harder stuff like hardstyle and that. And then it really sort of, I think it was about the age of, I think I would have been about 19 to be honest. I listened to Rush Hour by Armin Van Buuren. and that song just changed my outlook on music. And I focused on trance, and it really, I mean, I still do the occasional bit of progressive house, the occasional bit of commercialized dance music, we'll call it, but trance has been a signature genre of music for me, I have to say. It's absolutely incredible.
I mean, that goes again on to my next question, like, why trance? Why the genre of trance music?
I mean, all genres of music have their great points. You've got rock, you've got folk music, you've got house, you've got techno. But to me, trance is one of them genres of music where you don't need anything to enjoy yourself, you know. I've been to a fair few trance raves. Every single one of them, I drank pop. I literally did not need anything to drink. A lot of people get misled by trance music. They sort of think because you're in a trance, it's drugs. And that couldn't be far from the truth, to be honest. I mean, you don't need anything. You don't need alcohol. You don't need anything to enjoy it. You don't need anything to enjoy any music, but trance, in my opinion, this is what I can say, trance is the only music that can give you a high without anything added to it. It makes you feel like you're in your own your own universe, your own little world. When you're in there amongst thousands of other people on the dance floor and that one track hits you and gives you goosebumps, you don't feel like you're on Earth anymore, really. It just sort of takes you away.
I was kind of thinking because when I started hearing like early dance music, it was about like, you know, it's quite young, but around 1989, and then hearing the likes of like 808 State, Guru Josh, and I was actually many years ago down at the River Thames. My cousin was a bit older, and he got us into this illegal rave.
The best ones.
Which were the best ones, and I just didn't have a clue what was going on. But the music I was hearing for around that time, and then it kind of breaks into the bridge with trance, and I think that's became my kind of love for trance also.
It's got that sort of unique sound to it, sort of thing. It's got them sort of chords, that sort of melody, that sort of bass that you just can't really tend to forget. I mean, 808 State are brilliant. They're mainly known for acid house, and that quite often leads into trance, particularly psychedelic trance. Guru Josh, he's got a lot of psychedelic stuff out there, which could be considered, some of it could be considered trance music. And then you've got Infinity by Guru Josh.
Yeah.
Very, very commercialised track. But a lot of people will look at that and see like elements of trance in it. They could classify it as anything from commercial dance, commercial house, commercial trance, over to just simply normal dance music, but it's got trance influences in there. And I think a lot of it does just stem from other music genres. I mean, 1989, the first trance track was officially released. That would be What Time Is Love by the KLF. Now,
boom, love that tune.
There's some debates amongst people whether that is actually trance or not. A lot of people say it is.
Yeah.
A lot of people say it isn't. There's always a debate going on about it. Then after that, 1989... because it was 1987 actually, that the KLF What Time Is Love came out. And then 1989 was Kylie Said Trance by the KLF again, and that obviously then had the word trance in it, and that's actually recognised as a trance track. But some of Paul van Dyk's earliest work, some people say, can be related back to 1986 even. And I mean, that was before trance was even a recognised genre of music.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to hear that because I used to play the Mega Drive Streets of Rage, and I don't know if you're familiar with that game. It was
it's kind of one of them games that sort of goes in the back of your memory.
Yeah,
kind of like an older version of Street Fighter.
Yeah,
you would look at that.
So it was like a 2D kind of platform game, but it's
classic
like,
arcade sort of thing.
Like yeah, but it had, I think, impressions of early trance on there.
It wouldn't surprise us if it did, to be honest, because it's been a very, very well-known genre, and a lot of people obviously they listen. For instance, the newest Johnny English film that came out, that had Darude Sandstorm in, and everyone, even people who don't listen to trance, know that track straight away. They know the tune. And that really, I was quite enjoying it when that came on, because I sort of thought, it's good that they still have that sort of music in there. It's like when I was playing at Good Grief, obviously it was incredible to be playing alongside big artists at an event like that. And the very last track I played was I Need a Miracle by Coco and Fragma.
Oh, yes.
And honestly, like, when you play a track like that, even if you don't know trance, the crowd just goes wild. It was absolutely brilliant.
I've got to try and say the guys who've done the music for Streets of Rage, Yuzo Koshiro and Motohiro Kawashima. So
I do
big respect to them.
I would say I do recognise the names, definitely.
In your opinion, BuZZila, do we need trance back into the mainstream?
I think we do. I mean, I can't say it ever really left the mainstream, but a lot of other genres have certainly taken over. You've got tropical house, you've got progressive house, you've got more commercialised house music, you know, from the likes of, say, Martin Garrix or Avicii, who, of course, was a legendary artist, unfortunately, gone too soon. But they're very sort of, they made house music. Trance, it occasionally creeps up into the charts every now and again. Beatport, in the actual trance charts, it's all over the place, but I think it does need to come back more so, like, from, say, 1994 to 2005, some of the biggest years for trance music then. You had, like I said before, you had Adagio for Strings, Casts in the Sky, Sandstorm. You had so many tracks that were in the UK top 20. I mean, I remember back in my school days, I think I was about 15 years old, and a lot of the kids used to, like, when they were out of lessons, used to blast that on the speakers to Root Sandstorm. And that brings back a flashback from them days when people used to always still listen to it. But we definitely need it to become even more mainstream, I think.
Right, I've got a bit of a long-winded question for you now.
Yep, no worries.
It is said that trance music generates uniform signals to the brain, which establishes a calmness and a sense of pattern that will influence your state of mind. You enter a mode of serenity, and your brain perceives the tunes as foreseen because of the repetitive music. Do you believe trance music helps with stress, anxiety, depression?
Definitely. I mean, there's all sorts of subgenres of trance out there.
Yeah.
But I think some of the main ones, like uplifting trance, probably one of the most commercial ones, subgenres of trance out there. That does really, like I said before, it just gives you a sense of being high, really. You stand there dancing away. You no thoughts in your head.
Yeah.
You're just enjoying the moment. Gives you a sense of euphoria, I think they would call it. It just makes you, like I said, it makes you feel like you're in your own little world, really. You're just amongst everyone and just enjoying the music. Stand there, eyes closed, hands in the air, just feeling the music go through your body, and you can't beat it. You can't come close very often to a feeling like that.
Again, so it just goes back to the first question, and is trance music good for you?
Definitely.
Doctor's orders.
Definitely doctor's orders. If not the doctor's, the DJ's orders.
DJ's orders.
Definitely.
Another question that keeps popping up, you've probably heard it 1,000 times, but has EDM destroyed trance music?
I wouldn't say it's destroyed it, no, definitely not. I mean, trance music, as commercialised as it can become, and it has become in the past, like I said, between 1994 and 2005, it's always got that sort of unique sound to it that you can, as far as I would say it, when I go to play at me clubs or the gigs that I book all over the country, you've got people from the age of 18 up to people who are like in the 50s, and they all know some of the music that you're playing, which is what I appreciate. It's like last year I was playing in Newcastle, and I had someone come over and he was shaking my hand. I was at the DJ booth and he said, "Oh, thanks for playing that. I haven't heard that in about 10 years. It was Born Slippy by Underworld." And I played that and people just appreciate it, I think, because it's an underground scene of music, but it's very, very well established. You can easily go to an underground rave and play trance, but at the same time, you've got people who headline festivals like Tomorrowland who also play trance music. Armin Van Buuren, Paul Van Dyk. For an Angel, 1994 that came out, another incredible track that again hit the UK top 20. And it's trance, pure trance that was. So I definitely think you can't commercialise trance too much. If it becomes too commercialised, it just sounds like EDM. It just sounds like standard electronic music that, for instance, Calvin Harris would play. Now, I like Calvin Harris, but his music is very commercial. Same as Tiesto. He made Adagio for Strings, Lethal Industry, Traffic, so many good trance tunes. He has commercialised his music a lot. Some people say he sold himself. I kind of disagree and I agree. At the same time, I don't feel like, yes, he's made a lot more money out of it and he's commercialised it, which, again, that's just his career path, to be honest. But then again, he'll go to a trance gig and he'll still play some of the classics. He's just doing what's best for his career, really, whether fans like it or not. As long as he's doing well for himself, then I can't see a problem with it.
Who are you talking about? What's your name again? Sorry.
Tiesto.
Yeah. I heard about him. There's a lot of people in the comments because he's on YouTube a bit, and there's a lot of people saying he's sold out and stuff. But he's kind of got a different outlook. And maybe has he not came away from the genre, but has he went to maybe another level?
I think he's just sort of he still does the occasional trance track, but he's went more from trance to more commercialised genres, I'd say. And again, yes, he might have not do as much trance. Yes, he might have sold out a bit, but at the end of the day, if he's making money and he's still playing all these big festivals, then you can't blame him, really.
Yeah.
But he still occasionally does go back and plays a classic trance set on vinyl or something, and you can go back and think, actually, he still has his heart set in trance. I mean, his roots are in trance. It's just, at the minute, obviously, he's doing what everyone does, trying to make a living. So commercialising his music a little bit to try and get that.
Yeah, cool. BuZZila, I'm just hoping that. Yeah, it's fine.
No worries.
Fine, mate.
Secure as always.
Yeah, just sometimes it comes away, you know. You know the
coming
the form.
towards us.
Yeah, the form. When you're playing your music, because you do actually write and kind of compose your own music, don't you?
I've been producing and composing my own music since I was about 20 years old. I used to play the piano and the keyboard a bit, and I've got all the software on my laptop, beat machines, synthesizers, whatever. I love making my own music. When I DJ, it tends to be classics, but when I release my own music, particularly trance, it tends to be quite uplifting, progressive sort of stuff, which is a sound of uplifting trance out of all of them. It's the main genre of trance, I think, that no matter where you are, no matter what club you're playing in, someone will know one of the tracks and someone will enjoy it because it's got that uplifting feeling again. And that would be it.
Yeah. I mean, there's one tune in particular that I like off your album is Neverland.
That will be one. That will be my latest single. That got released in early September, and that track, it's still my usual uplift and trance sound, which is what I try to stick to, but it's got quite a different sort of feel to it. It's less of a dancey beat and more of a very progressive, very different sort of drop. Sort of the sort of thing you could put your hands in the air and sway to, rather than something you could just full on dance and jump to. But to me, it's just it's got an interesting progression, shall I say? Yeah.
Have you got any residencies, or do you kind of jot around the UK, or do you predominantly play in the northeast? Or I know within the current,
I tend to branch out a lot. Before all the COVID-19 stuff unfortunately happened, I was supposed to be all over the UK. I was talking to nightclubs and bars in Edinburgh, Liverpool, Manchester, Sheffield. I've been on radio stations, all of them places. But I'm now talking to clubs about I've done 3 regional tours, and this time I want to embark on a UK tour. But definitely, I've got a residency with 2 online streaming platforms. They do SoundCloud, they do Facebook Live a lot of the time, which would be Love, Peace, Unity, Trance, and Let the Beat Control Your Body. 2, those are mainly just Facebook based. They've got a lot of resident DJs on. You go on the page, you do a live set, a live stream. We've got all sorts of different trance DJs and electronic music DJs on there, and we just get quite a lot of views. While I'm a resident DJ actually at Basement Snacks, which is based here in Newcastle. Obviously, due to the COVID-19 situation, I haven't really been able to do a show there, but I used to do a show there every month. Every month, for a couple of months, I did a show there. Just a free show, couple of hours, invited some people down, and they would just listen to some trance. And I'm also a resident DJ on Nova Radio Northeast, which at the minute, of course, again, it's only recently reopened, But I used to be on there pretty much every Monday, a couple of hours. My own show. I used to announce new gigs that were going on in the Northeast, play tracks from artists based in the Northeast, and I used to just do my own trance show called Mindscape, which is now the name of my UK tour. The next event, hopefully, is going ahead on the 28th of November in Stockton, out of everywhere, at any volume bar. But
City of Stockton, eh?
aye, but whether it goes ahead or not, we'll just have to wait and see. But obviously, 28th of November, very exciting. Lots of classic trance being played. I'll be doing a 4-hour set probably, and tickets are £5 each. And hopefully, it'll go ahead, I'm hoping. Just have to see what the government says.
Yeah, of course. Big shout out to Gary Bell from Stockton-on-Tees. We've got a good friend who lives up there. He's got a gym. He's got a promotion outfit. Kickboxing.
I used to do a bit of kickboxing back in secondary school.
All right.
Kickboxing, bit of taekwondo, played rugby for about 6 years as well. So
Right.
I used to like me sports a lot, but nowadays I walk a lot nowadays, do the odd bit of boxing still, do the odd bit of swimming when the swim baths are open. But I think walking's one of my favourite things. I can walk for miles. Live in Concert, obviously. That's my hometown. I once decided to go on a walk from there to the Derwent Reservoir, which is obviously miles from it. And then I walked all the way back, just because I felt like it. Had my headphones on.
Listening to trance music.
Playing, yeah. Had some trance playing. For a bit, I even switched my headphones off and I switched my phone off as well. And I was just walking along. It was countryside, so there was just no one around. It was nice. It was peaceful.
Uh-huh.
And it was great, yeah. But Stockton, been there once or twice, and I can't wait to do the gig there, as long as it goes ahead.
Yeah, mate. I'm sure it will.
Oh yeah, of
when
course.
Things get back to normal.
Yeah, we're still sticking to social distancing guidelines. A seated only gig, so it's not a full on rave. But obviously, anyone wants to come down, please do. Be brilliant. Enjoy the trance music.
So when you're like I said, when you're composing your music, your trance tunes, have you got a particular person in mind that you're trying to connect with, or what kind of connection are you trying to emit to the audience or listeners?
In all honesty, I don't really tend to have anyone in mind when I'm producing my own music. I just get some beats, play some chords, play some melodies, put some stuff together. As long as I'll listen to it hundreds of times over and over again. Even if the track's finished, I'll wake up one morning, say, oh, that's perfect. I'll wake up the next morning and think, actually, I could change this. Too much of a perfectionist sometimes, which can be unfortunate, because I can have a track finished for months, but it'll take a month for us to actually release it or send it into a label, which is Behaviour Recordings, who I'm with at the minute, because I just want to make sure it sounds perfect. But when I create a trance track, when I'm in the studio, I think in my head, the one thing I see is a stage. I see loads of people, hands in the air, eyes closed, just enjoying the sound of the music, really. That's what I try to have a look, For a couple of hours, they're away from reality, away from all the good points and bad points of the modern world, and they're just in their own little world, really. Enjoying themselves.
Let's talk about your albums, because you have got a few albums, haven't you?
I've got quite a few tracks out, most of them under Behaviour Recordings. I did release one or two in the past under my own label, BuZZila Records, which I've got a couple of artists signed to. It's only a small label at the minute, but I'm happy to take any artists on who want to send in demos and stuff. But this will be my first full-length album. I'm looking to feature about 12 different tracks on it.
Right.
Most of them will have been released in the past previously, but I'm looking to make about 3 or 4, probably even 5 tracks, which have never been released to the public before, only available on the album. And I'm looking to release that in about December, January time, providing that and get myself knuckled down in the studio and get some work done.
Oh, right. I actually thought there were albums. I think it's just the way the artwork is presented. It looks like there's a lot of albums there. Who does your artwork for that last album?
I do my own artwork sometimes, while sometimes the record label quite does. Like, I'll give them, basically, if I'm talking to the record label over the emails, I'll tell them what I want in it. For Neverland, I said I want something that's, I want something set in space, but I want it.
I want
to give it like a heavenly sort of feel. So, and I'll say what colours I want in, they'll have their own artwork designers put it together. Obviously, for me live shows and me posters and that, I'll either create them myself or my good friend and my official cameraman, Brandon. He owns 9 Point Photography. It's his own photography business. And he quite often works alongside Buzzin' Records and alongside me. Comes to me gigs, does me photos, does me filming. If I'm doing a modelling shoot for a clothing brand, he does all them photos, interviews, does all me photos there. And he sometimes does design like posters for me gigs and that.
Right.
And I've said to him, as well as doing photography, and he said it as well, he should do a design business. I think he'd be very good at it, to be honest. 9 Point Photography.
Is that his website?
That is Facebook page, yeah, 9 Point Photography. Used to be 9 Point Camera Works,
right,
with an X rather than a K and an S.
Right.
He thought it'd give it that unique sort of standpoint. But he's always been my official cameraman now. Everywhere I go, he's very loyal, which is what I've always liked. Because I've got a few people who work under the Buzzin' Records label. I've got a guy who drives us places. Got a guy who does me security sometimes. But when I look for people who work for us, I don't necessarily look for someone who's ridiculously smart, ridiculously well educated, they don't even have to like music that much. I just look for someone who is very loyal. It's someone who can take me seriously as an artist. And that's what I like. That's what I like about him and the guys who work alongside us. Yeah,
I mean, it's all about the bond, like, isn't it? It's all like you can kind of work with a lot of different people, but you could all like the same thing, but it doesn't always say that you'll all get on, you know?
That's very true. Differences can sometimes, opposites attract. That's what they sometimes say, and I think, some of them, one of my best friends, who's best man at my wedding, Chris, he drives me a lot of places to me gigs and that, and he used to do the security in me events sometimes, just as like sort of my own personal guy, keeps an eye on us sort of thing. And he very rarely listens to trance music. He likes a lot of like pop music or a lot of boy band sort of stuff. But he's there, he's working me show till 3-4 o'clock in the morning, he's driving us back from the club to me house. And I think that's sort of what you look for: loyalty, dedication.
Yeah, mate, definitely. What's the future for BuZZila?
Hopefully, once this UK tour gets done, get some more gigs in. Got a lot more radio appearances coming up. Got some more magazine interviews coming up. And hopefully get playing some... I've got a few different festivals, like small outdoor festivals, and I've got a few different club brands interested in having us play again, and I'd love to play for Good Grief as well. And obviously, the more and more you play for big, well-known brands like that, the more and more people are going to, follow your Facebook page, follow your Instagram page, buy your music, listen to your music. And hopefully one day it'll be my full-time career. Tends to be anyways, but I want to be reaching, if I could say to have one goal as a musician or as a DJ, it would be to play Tomorrowland. Someone asked me there and then, what do you want to get out of DJing? Playing Tomorrowland. That would be the big time if you were playing somewhere like that.
Is for people who don't know, what is Tomorrowland?
Tomorrowland, it's one of the world's biggest music festivals, particularly for electronic music.
Right.
It does a lot of stuff. It does house, it does techno, it does hardstyle, it does a lot of different electronic musics. But trance is one of the biggest genre of musics, I have to say that. It plays, to be honest. You've got Paul Van Dyke, Tiesto, Armin Van Buuren, and then you've got like the likes of Martin Garrix. You've got loads of different DJs, David Guetta, Calvin Harris, all playing at this one big event that goes over for a space for about 3 days. It's like the Glastonbury of electronic music.
Right,
That's how I would describe it as. 45,000 people normally it has attending. It's incredible. Right. Never been there myself, but I'd love to be able to play there. If not, just go there.
So if you're listening to this and you're listening to BuZZila's interview here, let's get on that festival.
Well, yeah, definitely. BuZZila would love to play there. BuZZila would love to go there. I might go there next year, but
yeah,
I think going there would be incredible. Seeing all the artists would be incredible, but playing there would be the goal of a lifetime. That you've got to have a goal, haven't you? You've got to set benchmarks because from where you started to where you end, and even all the people that you meet along the way, might not be. Yeah, you're doing trance now, but who knows what you could be doing in about 4 or 5
years' time, you know?
I see, I mean, trance has been my signature sound, but I occasionally do produce music in the studio for different genres. Progressive house is quite a big one, like a more commercial sound house music.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to do a bit of hardstyle as well.
All right.
I used to love just not the beat per se, but just the big drop for it, the big Europic sound you get to it.
You know, obviously, you're a musician with trance and compose, DJ, but you do a couple of extracurricular activities as well, don't you?
Oh, of course. I mean, I've got a few different things on the go. You've got the record label, of course.
Yeah.
Which I founded in 2017. A couple of artists signed to it. Every gig I do, I tend to have it hosted by BuZZila Records. That's the label.
Mm-hmm.
But got the modelling on the side as well.
Yeah.
Do quite a few different shoots every now and again. Got a few different clothing brands, which I'm kind of an ambassador for, really.
Do you want to give them a shout out?
Well, yeah, you've got Lewis Rose Clothing.
Yeah.
You've got DNA Clothing. And you've also got War Paint for Men as well, which does like sort of men's stuff like moisturisers, hairstyle.
Oh, I've seen them.
It's
Did they not win a deal on Dragon's Den a few years ago?
They did actually, yes.
Yeah.
They were just doing an interview about it recently, talking back to it. Yeah, that's them. An ambassador for a few different clothing companies and different companies like that. And obviously, I've always liked the modelling, and to be fair, it was something that kind of came in line with the music. Like, a lot of musicians, celebrities, DJs, you'll see a lot of them will do modelling. A lot of stuff they will advertise stuff. Tiesto, for instance, he's advertised clothing brands before.
Yeah.
It's just so it sort of comes in line with the music.
Sort of all starts to come like hand in hand, doesn't it?
It does. It goes quite hand in hand, to be honest. And it's just another great way of getting yourself out there, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, BuZZila, it's been absolutely great having you here.
It's great to be here.
You actually were first guest in the new place, you know.
About to say it's been an honour. It's a very, very nice studio.
Oh, hi, thanks a lot. I mean, we're still working on it. It's getting there. It's not 100% done yet, but it's a work in progress.
I thought it was nearly complete, to be honest.
Yeah, it's about 80% complete, but when we get there, we're going to get more. We've got more people to come around, but hopefully when we get more people, more guests coming on, you'll be able to come down and join again.
Definitely, I would like that. But I would say, can't say no to getting on the radio. That's my motto.
Right. Okay, Herman, thanks a lot.
It's all right. Thank you very much.
For contributions, interviews, events, you can contact us at contact@peep-magazine.co.uk. Our latest Peep Magazine escapism issue is now on sale via our website www.peep.ltd.